Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for all professors, academics, and professionals abroad who are watching and following up on this presentation now. This presentation focuses on the outcomes of my presentation. Is on the outcomes of my PhD research project. Regarding my background and experience in the heritage management and cultural tourism, I investigated and developed a people-centered heritage branding approach in conservative manner. Introducing myself, I am a lecturer and a professional in heritage management. I have 8 years of academic and professional experience in heritage management, tangible and intangible, conservation, adaptive reuse and rehabilitation, community engagement and cultural identity, visitor management and interpretation, urban or rural heritage development, heritage marketing, and sustainable cultural tourism. I became a heritage management professional in 2015 after obtaining a Master of Arts in Heritage Conservation Site Management at PTU Cottbus, Stauffenberg, and then in 2023, I obtained a PhD degree in Heritage Marketing and Sustainable Cultural Tourism at the Architecture Department program, Architecture, Innovation and Heritage, under the theme of Urban Heritage and Mass Tourism at Roma Tre University in Italy. In 2015, that's introducing my professional experience. In 2015, I started my career reviewing the literature, case studies, and practical data through 2 UNESCO internships. In 2017, I joined practically as a researcher and project associate at Economist Studio, managing the initial actions of CIWI projects, where I contributed to raising awareness of the local community about C1 built vernacular architecture and its cultural significance, enhancing culturally the partnership and communication perspective. Additionally, since 2017, I have digitally founded and strategically managed the Heritage for All initiative as an international initiative. I could deliver a solid and consistent international image and work, applying e-communication methodology. Heritage for All hosts 3 international internship programs. For example, the program of Rural Heritage and Master and Traditional Food in 2019, and visualization of a cultural identity in 2021. These programs was recommended and appreciated by Europe Nostra and Ecomos Australia newsletters. I may also mention that many universities and organizations recommend the Heritage for All programs and activities for their students and other young professionals through their websites and social media, such as Deakin University in Australia, PTU Cottbus Stauffenberg in Germany, and Tartu University in Estonia. And then in 2018, I participated as a project associate in consultation team of Turasna for heritage management. I prepared the section of visitor management and interpretation in a proposal for the Giza Plateau Master Management Plan 2019-2022. Through this section, I focused on engaging the positive cultural values of the surrounding demographic area, not only to display the archaeological heritage, and finally, between 2019 to 2023, I was a doctoral researcher in the Architecture Doctorate program of Roma Tre University in Italy, and with the financial support of the Italian Agency for Development Cooperation Partnership for Cultural Tourism, Cultural Heritage and Sustainable Tourism, in cooperation with Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. In total, my PhD research project entitled Cultural Identity and the Branding, an Integrated Approach to Enhance the Heritage Value. This project mainly focused to develop people-centered heritage branding approach. The investigation of the research project was based on two empirical case studies in Viterbo province in Italy. First one is a cultural landscape of Civita do Bagnoregio. The second one is Palazzo Farnese in Caprarola. Furthermore, my PhD study, during my PhD study, I participated in EU project 2020, Horizon 2020, which was called B Culture, in cooperation with Dr. Christer Gustafsson at Uppsala University. We mainly focused on a community-centered cultural tourism in Forsvik, Swedish industrial heritage destination. Through this case study, we could develop a strategic dynamic partnership among mainly three partners: people or the host community, the public sector, and the private sector. Thus, Forsvik was presented to develop a people-public-private partnership, or in another word, a circular and participatory business model, or we can call it a corporate committee. Also here, I would like to state that I have a qualified teaching experience. I was a lecturer of module Heritage and Tourism at International Master Program Architecture and the Cultural Heritage at Hochschule Anhalt in Germany. Additionally, I did many lectures and workshops at various international universities such as Uppsala University, Sweden, Banaras Hindu University in India, Heidelberg University in Germany, Florence University and Roma Tre in Italy, University of Peshawar in Pakistan, Sharjah University in Emirates, etc. Also in my home country, I cooperated and I still cooperate with Egypt Exploration Society, Goethe Institute, and the UNESCO Cairo capacity building programs in Egypt. In previous cooperation with Ecumen Studio 2020, I did a previous lecture entitled Heritage Branding, a Protective Shield to Sustain the Cultural Sites. That through this lecture, I could present or share in particular some part of my thesis or previous perspective or what I was thinking about. It's this lecture, you can find it on YouTube. It was saved and was still on YouTube. In this lecture, I discussed the interactive relationship between cultural identity and heritage branding. Now we can go through my PhD thesis, the main topic of this broadcast or live stream. This presentation that I can share with you the interdisciplinary study, which focuses on the disciplines of heritage marketing and sustainable cultural tourism in urban architecture heritage areas, for example, in our cultural landscapes or rural villages. The study overall seeks to understand how branding the heritage sites impacts its conservation condition, sustaining the community as a source of cultural identity, and investigating whether branding can influence a sense of the place factor for community and the loyalty factor for the visitors. As you see here, that thesis idea was curated through a group of references and notes from multiple case studies abroad. So through all of that, I can ensure that the valorization of UNESCO World Heritage Emblem as a brand icon overlooks the marketing statement of the local heritage sites that are not designated World Heritage. This practice leads to competition rather than collaboration, which could result in the endangering of the tangible heritage forms and intangible cultural heritage expressions, and the loss of authentic community-held cultural knowledge, or in other words, cultural identity. So we found that the tourism market mostly renders cultural landscapes as a semi-customized products valorizing the role of publicity and negatively impacting the cultural assets conservation mandate. The study of this thesis starts to investigate what is cultural identity and its relationship with cultural heritage. But unfortunately, there is no specific definition for the cultural identity from context of heritage studies. That also heritage has an identity conferring status. There is no heritage preservation based definition of cultural identity. For example, recognizing the factor of culturalization, Hall and other researchers indicated that cultural identities are subject to continuous play of history, culture, and power. So according to this factor, Manson and the others could understand that cultural identity belongs indirectly to cultural heritage through a place attachment factor. Then others anthropologically define the cultural identity as cultural root. Then regarding an aspect of cultural landscapes and human interactions, it was realized that the current intangible and the intangible heritage is a normal consequence of the anthropological and ethnographical interactions between the immigrated and the host communities and their surrounding context. Recognizing the localization as a factor of transmitting cultural knowledge, there are many people who agreed with that youth often had access to more than one cultural identity style and proactively interchanged them resiliently and flexibly to navigate a wide range of social environments. Actually, after connecting with multiple theories and international heritage legislation, I adopt from management perspective, a people-centered approach, and collecting data by multiple case studies, I could propose this definition that cultural identity is a sociocultural affiliation which is shared by one community. I mean, autochthonous community, indigenous community, or local community, not one nation. With its inexchangeable ethnocultural effects. Both tangible cultural heritage forms and intangible cultural heritage expressions are one authentic integral value. And then from the ecosystem and or biodiversity perspective of the cultural contexts, it recognizes cultural identity, recognizes socioculturally the modern and contemporary alterations of the circular economy, derived requirements of the future generations as the regular intercultural consequence of the community's interaction with the rest of the globe. Then, here, I try to make a classification and make a specification for each phase of heritage marketing, starting from promotion and up to branding, considering the conservation conservation condition. But I would like to attract your attention to one note that in basic on the life cycle of the tourism attraction and considering the number of visitors and time spent, the life cycle in conference with 6 stages: exploration, involvement, development, consolidation, stagnation, the decline, and the rejuvenation. All of these phases, it's push us to specify the characteristics of each phase. That I could define 3 phases for upgrading the marketing position of the heritage site and branding it, attracting visitors and moving the audience's attention to the site's needs and its conservation condition. We can start with the first phase, heritage promotion towards dealing with the heritage sites from scratch. The site management here opens the initial facilities and services of the heritage sites and start to raise awareness of the community towards the cultural significance of a heritage site. If the heritage site, for example, archaeological ruins, is fragile, at risk, or doesn't possess enough carrying capacity to attract a good number of visitors, it's better to pause at this stage. I mean, in heritage promotion, not go to heritage marketing. This phase could conserve heritage attributes and preserve heritage values as a site management figure out the next steps. Subsequently, using outreach strategies such as digital and information technology devices can facilitate the transmission and the safeguarding of cultural knowledge and identity to upcoming generations. And then go up to the next stage, heritage marketing. If the heritage site has a convenient conservation conditions, the site management team can begin analyzing the results of the promotion phase of a heritage site by conducting a micro and macro environmental scan, including the political, economic, social, technological, legislative, environmental, what we can call from a marketing perspective, pestle items. And also the marketing mix, including basically 4Bs, products, place as distribution channels, and the price and promotion. This analysis will identify the physical and immaterial characteristics of the heritage assets and the distribution channels which through the site values could be delivered. This heritage marketing phase categorizes the pricing policy of the site's admission fees and the provided services and facilities. Additionally, the analysis will contribute to specifying the tools for including the outcomes in the heritage promotion phase, the outcomes of the heritage promotion phase. The heritage site then commences to recognize the direct and indirect competitors by estimating the exact marketing segmentation for each visitation program and its subsequent requirements. In the phase of heritage marketing, the heritage site must start to launch itself in the cultural tourism market among other public heritage attractions and ensure that it targets both local and international visitors. But in promotion phase, you only focus on local audience. Third phase, this heritage augmentation or heritage augmenting, that creating the brand image. Before to go in depth with its characteristics, initially we have to differentiate between the diverse aspects of heritage branding and the place or city destination branding, or also a heritage-based branding that considers the meaning resources of cultural heritage are portable. The former concepts, I mean heritage-based branding concept, enables heritage and cultural assets as a tool for generating a brand image, which could express that cultural heritage plays a vital role in the development of cities as experience destinations and promotes a sense of place identity. Based on the perception of the target group, there are no restrictions to integrating the concepts of heritage branding and urban regeneration. This integration process must consider various criteria, such as the increase in the number of tourists and the buildings, an increase in the number of residents, and the increase in the real estate prices, etc. All of these probably lead to degeneration of cultural heritage and environment. So, distinguishing branding as an augmentation level of her marketing planning, heritage branding is considered to be a defensive tool in the competitive marketplace, which promotes loyalty by developing a direct emotional rapport. What in cultural sense is called brand identification, mainly with the visitors. Heritage branding also develops a self-realizing mentally, a self-realizing sense among the visitors, and facilitates an interactive and lifelong learning experience. This experience fundamentally looks at investing in the heritage site's main sociocultural values while keeping a positive emotion in the visitor's attitude. Heritage branding informally contributes to attracting a creative economic investment. Heritage branding also illustrates the main characteristics of the heritage site and develops the site's image over time in the minds of visitors, in the minds of the residents, and other stakeholders. Thus, visitors experience the promoted brand values and feel the authenticity of a unique place. In sum, heritage branding generally seeks to socioeconomically valorize the main heritage values by providing a long-term image based on cultural identity. It is found that cultural identity can be strategy for a competitive identity in the memory of the key site stakeholders, who are also a key factor in the success or failure of the branding strategies that lead also to an increased sense of ownership and sustainability of the brand. In my research project, I adopted a ground theory as an iterative tool for collecting data, that in this case, a process of data collection is often described as inductive. It constructs and validates the emergent theory by employing the participants' experiences as key data using both qualitative and quantitative data analysis. So both analyses employ an interpretive constructivism paradigm to provide a group of insights to generate the research findings. Applying grounded theory, I reviewed multiple definitions of branding, and also based on the life cycle of heritage or tourism attraction and conservation, I could interlink the heritage marketing and city branding and also heritage-based branding. By the way, I could imagine joint characteristics between the cultural identity and the branding. So here I could to enter a community as a sustainable heritage representative, also as a user-generated content strategy, and as a brand ambassador. Community overall can play an essential role in formulating the perception of the visitors and positively influencing their word of mouth. In regard with that, I selected mainly 3 branding models. The first one is Keller's Brand Knowledge Model, 1993. The second one, it's its evolution, Keller's Customer-Based Brand Equity Model Pyramid in 2009. Both models of Keller invested in knowledge factor, reformulating the level of imagination, expectation, and thereby satisfaction of the customer throughout developing brand equity, brand awareness, and brand loyalty, and brand association or image. The third one is a model of the Russian Museum of Ethnography branding structure for visitors. This model aims to review the manifestations of cultural diversity and publicize its heritage knowledge, outlining national identity, the operationalization of brand perception of ethnographic museums has particular features owing to the museum's connections with national self-consciousness and identity, state cultural policy, and the management of cultural heritage. So, into reinterpretation of branding knowledge in the context of cultural heritage, I try to give these notes regarding what I collected in as a literature review. So I can translate the branding knowledge or branding perspectives in these notes, that brand equity can refer to the interaction between the brand and visitor. To strengthen this interaction, brand equity should be inspired by integrated interactive marketing communication, or in other words, the macro marketing, what we call macrom as a set of decisions. So macrom deals with communication tools for raising awareness of the community, enriching the visitors' knowledge, and enhancing their level of reality. With urban branding concept, branding awareness aims to upgrade the visitors' skills to recognize a brand name or logo or slogan and distinguish it from others in the same category. It creates a unique, favorable, and strong brand image of the heritage site, prompting the decision making for the visitors. Brand awareness. Brand awareness sets a lifelong learning memory of the site's community, the visitors' mentality, and the other stakeholders. Among the needs and wants of various stakeholders, here, a heritage site should reformulate its interpretation methods for manifesting its cultural identity, as well as representing its cultural, ethical, and social systems. Subsequently, brand awareness can contribute to the evaluation of marketing performance and brand familiarity by conducting repetitive experiences, which in turn can reformulate long-term marketing programs. It reformulates a set of strengths that reflects a desirable brand image in the mentality, memory, and perception of the visitors by implementing coherent and consistent brand messages as supportable competitive development. Then go through brand reality. Brand reality can be affected by the interaction of the visitors with the tools and methods of heritage interpretation. A well-known and trustworthy brand encourages visitors and key site stakeholders to position a heritage site in their priority set through a strong emotional and nostalgic rapport. Thus, a brand reality could create a well-established baseline for the branding uniqueness and competitive factors by offering traditional and cultural services that meet the additional visitors' needs, so as to increase number of visitors and their related incomes. Then go through the last two steps: brand associations and brand presentation. First, brand association or image is responsible for determining the visual or verbal expressions concerning the values of the cultural identity, which were characterized by the site's attributes and visitors' perception, as well as other relevant factors of uniqueness. The dimensions of brand association or image are the identity, the place, the period, I mean present, temporary, or future. Number 4, the general or exceptional uniqueness. The brand values can be presented through various factors. Number 1, the pricing policy, which could generate a long-term beneficiary relationship with the distribution channels, especially the private sector. Number 2, the balance among the visitors' needs and wants, the conservation condition or criteria, the risk preparedness, the community-based interpretation methods. These factors could ensure the possibility of the brand's expansion and the improved effectiveness of the heritage marketing programs with various target groups in the cultural tourism market. Then go through the last model or the third model about a brand structure for visitors in 2018. This model opens channels for intercommunication between the visitors' mentality, needs and wants, and their mentality and their needs and wants and their perception of the heritage site's brand image. Considering the national identity and the globalized understanding of cultures, the model stresses the necessity for matching the community and its cultural heritage. Reviewing this model or reviewing the case study, I mean the Russian Museum of Ethnography, its brand image since 1902 aims to review the manifestations of the cultural diversity among the Russian provinces, as well as publicize its cultural heritage knowledge, outlining the national identity, in turn enhancing the tolerance among the locals. So here, following the value-based marketing approach and based on the joint characteristics among the aforementioned models and following the value-based marketing approach, I suggest enhancing the cultural assets and treating the unique values of cultural identity by representing it in the marketing mix as a holistic marketing strategy. In compliance with the value-based approach to cultural heritage management, I adopted the people-centered approach to monitoring the sustainability of heritage site branding. So, as shown in the table, this approach can help balance the requirements of the visitors and community by covering the B's of marketing, such as products, price, place, promotion, people, in each branding phase. The table summarizes the different marketing strategies that might be adopted in the culture to the heritage context, the interplay among the marketing mix elements, as well as the diverse stakeholders involved within the different branding phases. Now we can go through the case studies. The first one is main domain that the cultural landscape of Civita do Bagnoregio as a model for territorial branding. Recognizing the natural values since the Etruscan era of the medieval ages, the main components of the cultural landscape of Civita do Bagnoregio were located on a peak of a volcanic tuff or clay plateau. This plateau overlooked the Tiber River Valley, Calanchi, it's called Calanchi, where the Etruscan or Villanovian arrived and lived, followed by and then the Romans in 3rd century BC. Additionally, Civita do Bagnoregio has an impressive urban architectural value, especially considering its socio-cultural layers. It is considered to be one of the unique examples from Etruscan era with the masonry dwellings with very narrow stone-paved streets from the medieval ages. This cultural landscape promotes substantial harmony and interaction among communities, especially during the medieval ages and the surrounding environment, creating a unique urban architectural style. The urban layout has extended over centuries, and there is no modern construction that affects the site. Civita do Bagnoregio is located between Tuscany and Lombardy and Umbria, or exactly between Orvieto and Polsiena. Administratively, it is currently under the administration of the municipality of Bagnoregio, Viterbo Province, Lazio region, transformed from being a traditional rural area to a model of a heritage tourism attraction. The cultural landscape of Civita do Bagnoregio is one of the most well-known tourism attractions in Lazio and in the Italian, European, or international heritage tourism market. Due to its geological location and the intensifying environmental hazards faced, as well as other human-induced impacts, it was listed on the World Monuments Fund among the 100 most endangered sites and urgently requires a conservation and tourism management plan. According to criteria number 3 and 5, the cultural landscape of Civita di Bagnoregio was nominated on the tentative UNESCO World Heritage List for Italy in March 2017. In 2015, municipality of Bagnoregio used social media devices to promote the heritage site and enhance its marketing position by launching its brands. Also, the municipality arranged a group of folkloristic and economic actions, events, exhibitions intensively promoted in the local and international media with various languages and advertising methods. Following a territorial marketing approach, the urban architectural frame of landscape, including picturesque and traditions, was taken as a logo for many tourism facilities, amenities, businesses, and services in Civita and in Bagnoregio itself, such as the company of Acqua di Civita and the restaurant of Alma Civita. Due to its location, Civita di Bagnoregio was nicknamed the city in the sky, also as a result of clay erosion, the frequent landslides, seismic hazards, and the degradation of the population. It earned the slogan, the dying city, which was mentioned by the Italian writer Benventura Ticchi in 1951. This slogan was appeared and printed in capital letters as a sign of Civita di Bagnoregio. Consequently, it was shared in many reports on national Rai Uno TV and other international TV channels and newspapers, as for example, BBC, CNN, TF1, and the NHK documentary. But nowadays, there is an extensive effort by the municipality of Bagnoregio and the community of Civita di Bagnoregio to transform its slogan from the dying city to the fighting to life city. The fighting to life city. It will be the proposed slogan in the future. Civita di Bagnoregio was rated as one of the most beautiful villages in Italy by Skyscanner in 2015 and one of the 20 most spectacular Italian cities that were carved in rock. The official guidebook of Italy calls Civita for its foggy nature in the winter season, multiple slogans, or we can call it labels. For example, surrounded in a fog of unreality, an island in our memory, or a figment of our imagination, and also hidden peril in the heart of Lazio. Civita di Bagnoregio is one of the most unique sites, which might represent a long timeline of Italian and international cinema, movies, and ETV programs and reports, such as the report on Pesce che scompare, a town have a riot in 1971, a town which disappears, I'm sorry, by the Italian newsreel, also by newsreel La Settimana Income in 1953, the priest episode of the film Let's Have Riot in 1971, Japanese cartoon film La Butta, 1986, Brazilian opera Terra Nostra, 2003, TV script broadcast on Rai Uno, Pinocchio by Alberto Sironi in 2009, and etc. Also, many advertisements used Civita di Bagnoregio as an attractive location and context for their products. For example, an Italian brand an Italian jam brand, Santa Rosa. We can see their advertisement here. It will be uploaded now. You can see. And also Nutella packaging. This is not a graphic. It's already bought or shared physically in the mall of traditional food of Italy. It's called Italy. It's a common mall in Italian countries. Also, we can see here to transmit this knowledge, Civita di Bagnoregio become an inspiration tool for the child story. Il Museo Geologico del Ferrana, Civita di Bagnoregio, Sistema Musella del Lago di Bolsiena, Provincia di Viterbo. You can find this by this title, the full story by Italian language. It's open, or I mean, it's accessible on internet. You can download and read. It's very funny. You will like it too much. Then, currently, many Italian figures own some of the historical properties in Civita di Bagnoregio, like Valentina Pesitti, Italian journalist and presenter in Rai Uno, Giuseppe Tornatore, Italian film director, and Alessandro Michele, Italian fashion designer and Gucci creative director. Also, Civita di Bagnoregio pays €2 million per year just for the from the entrance ticket to the town. I mean, town of Bagnoregio or the municipality of Bagnoregio. And regarding the situation of or the brand of Civita di Bagnoregio, the municipality has now zero unemployment rate, and they directly and indirectly provide more than 400 job opportunities at 200 tourism-based services and amenities, in addition to the reduction in local tax percentages and the household expenses-based financial support by Bagnoregio municipality. The branding statement of Civita di Bagnoregio has been reflected in the surrounding areas that since 2017, 400 business activities have been generated in the area, including hotels, P&P, Airbnb, cafes, restaurants, parking areas, and etc. Viterbo province as well became first one in Lazio region, which represents 40%. Around 40 or 41% of the agritourism businesses or activities. Then, if we go through the other side, the negative impacts of the territorial branding style of this experiment or this example, that we find the settlements of Civita di Bagnoregio was exposed to a customization approach, as most activities are focused only on the economic impacts without considering the conservation and sustainability of cultural assets or the main local identity, intentionally or practically. Moreover, the marketing approach, I mean, the way the municipality or Casa Civita adopted considers the heritage site a semi-customized product. The site faces many threats. For example, a lack of community conservation, over tourist flow, and other human-induced impacts. Starts with the first issue, that lack of community conservation. The site sees a great gap in the factor of cultural integrity due to the abandonment of the traditional agrarian lifestyle and the uncontrolled tourism's dramatic alteration of Civita social and cultural fabric. The indigenous population was reduced to only 10 to 15 inhabitants. At the same time, the current community who are living, owning, or investing in these historic structures are not originally from Civita do Bagnoregio, or at least have not growing up there. Thus, the site is losing its cultural assets, especially its cultural and social values. Unfortunately, also, there are no active methods that contribute to sharing and transmitting sustainably the inherited cultural knowledge and raising awareness of the current community among new or visitors. There is no active interpretation methods regarding that. In 2014, there was a stunning rise in the number of visitors. Civita had more tourists than Colosseum. As a tourist attraction, Civita do Bagnoregio received more than 1 million visitors in 2019. Until today, if you go there, you will find a long queue of visitors every day. Considering the limited carrying capacity of the urban layout, there is no specific approach to managing the visitors' number. There is an imbalance in the number of visitors, as some places are completely filled while other places are empty. While the infrastructure might be maintained, mass tourism has put high pressure on the conservation condition and led to other human-induced impacts, anthropologically and ethnographically. The visitors come just to walk and enjoy some moments with the surrounding natural landscapes and green areas. Also, they don't seem interested in what the guides say or share through the signed audio device. Tour guides also don't give a unique information about the building spaces or the old practices that define the city. There is a need to create eye contact and promote interactive communication that transfers the core message of the heritage site and contributes to creating a long-term memory for the visitors. Regarding the traditional food at Civita do Bagnoregio, the restaurants don't mostly offer the traditional food of Civita do Bagnoregio. Just few restaurants, for example, Cantina di Ariana, Alma Civita, Proschetaria Antico Frantoio. Also, Rocchi family created a private museum, Antica Civita del Museo, that is composed of a collection of agricultural instruments which were inherited for their family. The official budgets between 2017-2019 indicate that outflow of the site revenues is probably higher than its inflow, especially on the weekends of the and festivals. The amounts and percentages of the revenues indicate that the required budgets for conserving and restoring the site attributes is probably higher than the income of the site. As a result, with a long-term conservation perspective, the site should develop diverse tools to mitigate these pressures. Overall, we can refer that the cultural identity of Civita do Bagnoregio probably faces the risk of demise. And also focusing on marketing and brand management, the majority of publicity, TV programs, movies, or documentaries focus on the geological nature of Civita do Bagnoregio and don't show its rich and long historical timeline since the Etruscan era. Consequently, the locals and the visitors seem to have increasingly limited cultural knowledge about Civita cultural and natural assets. In sum, we can say that branding has to be managed very well in the heritage site in order to avoid its negative impacts not just to make a brand for heritage site, and then to see, especially nowadays in the period of climate change, that although I noted a high number of cars and motorbikes which can access the depths of Bagnoregio, hence their carbon emissions already have and will continue to contribute to the changing weather and intensify the impact of the heavy rain and clouds on the historical material, such as clay layers that could be eroded and deteriorated, especially in harsh winters. Now we can go through the second case study, Palazzo Farnese in Caprarola, as a branding approach from my side as a researcher. Farnese Palace has a potential to be a landmark among all Farnese family palaces in Italy. Operationalizing the hybrid people-public-private partnership, the public and private properties which belong to Farnese family could be effectively marketed and financially supported. Also, the palace is included in the tentative lists of Italian UNESCO World Heritage Sites, villas of the papal nobility as a cultural route. It is not well known in the Lazio tourism market. This palace is architecturally, aesthetically, culturally, historically more unique than other palaces, villas, or houses of the Farnese family, including the ones that belongs to the public bodies. For example, the French embassy in Rome. It's the building of French embassy in Rome. It belongs to Farnese family. It's called Farnese Palace or Villa. It's near to Villa Borghese if someone would like to go there. Are under private ownership. That some of Farnese family palaces or villas in Italy, especially in Lazio region, some of them, it belongs to private ownership. The Farnese family has a long timeline in Italian and European history and architecture. The Farnese Palace in Caprarola is not a military castle or fortress as you see. No, it's more than a palace. It's a palace from the age of Renaissance art and architecture, 15th century, which was externally designed with a pentagonal architectural form. Reviewing the tourism statement and related finance, it is clear that the palace has suitable carrying capacity and is well conserved. So here the admission fees, as you see, is typically €5, which is similar to Civita de Bagnoregio. So the inflow of the palace is lower than the outflow. Thus, the palace must form meaningful partnership with other cultural tourism markets, encouraging entrepreneurial activities, especially in France, Spain, Germany, Flemish countries, and United Kingdom. Why? Because Farnese family or the palace in Caprarola has a representation for the Farnese family in all of these states, in France, Spain, Germany, Flemish countries, and United Kingdom. The palace broadened its distribution channel through the surrounding touristic attractions, services, facilities in Caprarola. Actually, this is my thinking regarding the situation, but not the real situation, okay? So Caprarola here is a village which known for hazelnuts and chestnuts agriculture, and the palace therefore could serve a common arena or a landmark not only for the cultural visitors but also for the we can say the Italian entrepreneurs who run hazelnuts and chestnuts, drive the businesses. By doing so, marketing and branding Palazzo Farnese or Farnese Palace might contribute to, number one, redeveloping the tangibility of sustaining the cultural memory, Number two, pausing, as you see here, the number of population in Caprarola starting to be dropped down up to 2021. Okay, and now it's less than that also. So this action of marketing and development and branding Palazzo Farnese probably to pause the demographic degradation that Caprarola now faces. Then, reviewing the brand identity of the Caprarola tourism campaign, Visit Caprarola, it consists of reference to major cultural and natural sources in Caprarola. Number one, two different green colors to indicate the nature and the surrounding forests or the farms of chestnuts and hazelnuts. Number two, a light brown color to refer to the hazelnut and chestnut derived agricultural businesses or investments as one of the main economic sources. Blue color to refer to the water of the Vico Lake or lagoon. Finally, orange and violet color to represent the sunny environment and the artistic scenes of Farnese Palace. Additionally, the agriculture pentagonal outline and the circular courtyard of Farnese family palace is the core value of the logo. On the other hand, you can find the structure and balance of the palace and the X-road of Caprarola. Here, you can see this logo with a local flag of Caprarola, that in the old state, also all the Farnese state, this one is a logo of a Centro Commerciale Naturale. It's like we can say it's the oldest gift shop in Caprarola. Number three, and its most significant one, that we can find the logo of local entrepreneurial cosmetics called Biohelix Tosca. This logo, we can find it already brown, light brown color, referred to Caprarola, or we can say the building of Farnese Palace, or we can say the hazelnuts and chestnuts agriculture business in Caprarola. But the company mainly created by one of the Caprarola community members, and the structure of this logo, internal and external architecture form of take the external and the internal structure architecture form of Farnese Palace and become an inspirational source for the business brand identity. In addition to snail or helix, that's the main cosmetics, it's already generated from the material of these snails. So we can propose regarding these ideas the logo for Palazzo Farnese that inspired by architecture and aesthetical values of Farnese Palace and matching the relevant tangible and the intangible heritage values, along with the contemporary interactions by the Caprarola community, I suggested three logos for branding the palace. Additionally, I proposed the slogan that Taste Renaissance, based on socio-cultural values. If we refer the colors here, the brown color refers to hazelnuts or chestnuts, the green color refers to historic bark of the palace and Caprarola agriculture business or farms. The outlines of the logos were cropped from the external architectural pentagonal structure and the most well-known motif for the public locally and internationally. By doing so, the Palace Management Committee could specify a clear vision to raise awareness of the Caprarola community and foster their lifelong learning memory. Additionally, the slogan could be attractive and catches the attention of local international visitors, boosting the number of visitors. The palace has a great great opportunity in the international cultural tourism markets. For instance, many objects talk about the palace in the British Museum, Louvre Museum, Hessius Landis Museum in Darmstadt. Respectively, in cooperation with these branded museums or well-known museums and other private companies, the palace can reach a good benchmark in short time. Overall, the thesis presented two main findings due to risk of fragmentation. I proposed a model like a corporate committee, decentralizing cultural policy and governance. So applying bottom-up or participatory governance approach, I add the community as a backbone of the management system. This proposed committee jointly shares a group of characteristics which constitute the identity of the collective memory, what we can call a people-public-private partnership. This partnership as a hybrid governance model can balance and create synergies among the priorities and the interests of the public and private sectors while integrating the community in the heritage context. Building on the value of a heritage community inspired by UNESCO World Heritage Convention framework, as well as recognizing the positive and negative impacts of the territorial branding, our city branding and mass tourism in Civita de Bagnoregio, and the lack of marketing in Farnese Palace in Caprarola, I seek to activate aforementioned model about partnership, unifying all stakeholders under one brand, like what happened in Valtellina Corners, a project in Sondrio Lombardi. In regard with this, I could propose a people-centered heritage branding approach. First step, it will be a brand identity that realizing high carrying capacity heritage sites. It reviews the cultural values that interlink between tangible and intangible heritage manifestations, including the transmitted and contemporary cultural knowledge and practices of the community. It investigates the site's outstanding and interactive outcomes and the cultural diversity factor through the cultural representatives of the heritage site's attributes. Then, brand identity contributes to creating a point of party or the difference factor, valorizing the most outstanding, unique cultural values. This one. And then we can go in parallel between these two, third and fourth step. The brand awareness, these unique values directly design the main features and characteristics of sites, logo, slogan, and symbol. This step shares a particular message with visitors' mentality, and subsequently they can generate and retain a long-term image. By the way, this step will give a group of outcomes in communication with point of party, or we can call it brand proprietary assets, that it supports that brand association, supports the conservation condition through cooperative efforts and activities by the key stakeholders. Thus, integrating with the first step, I mean the identity step, the stakeholders might develop multiple images for one heritage site. Finally, these outcomes of these corporate interstages will be presented through three dimensions. The first one is social dimension, that reduction, for example, the reduction of the percentages of local taxes and the household expenses-based financial support, like what happened in Civita Bagnoregio. Number two, the regional territorial development dimension, the dimension of maximizing tolerance and respect for the cultural diversity to valorize the sense of the place or belonging and stewardship. guaranteeing a positive and accessible reaction, as well as sustaining cultural knowledge. This approach seeks to apply the heritage branding actions out of the core zone of the heritage site to be applied in buffer zone or transition area, consequently demonstrating well-managed cultural tourism for visitors flow while valorizing their extensive and mitigating their negative impacts positively. The proposed branding approach could create a series of long-term images for any of the heritage sites with various target segmentations. Using cultural mapping, it could set the visitor's mindset to interact and share heritage values and respectively to enhance the positive impact of the value of the marketing through a word of mouth. Recognizing the cultural landscape and valorizing cultural tourism, this positive interaction between a community and the surrounding cultural assets and the visitors provide a convenient space to both the modification speed and contributes to the future heritage industry by developing a group of few and unique cultural values. Thanks too much for listening my presentation, and I hope all of you send me your comments, your feeds in comments of this event on LinkedIn. Also, you can see here my email and my WhatsApp. Whoever can send me anytime. I will be so pleased to cooperate with all of you to protect the heritage sites in the context of heritage tourism, heritage marketing, and sustainable cultural tourism. Also, you can review all of my previous experience and papers. Also, here, ResearchGate and LinkedIn. Thanks too much, and I hope to hear. I will reply later on your comments. Whoever need any help or references, you can review the list of bibliography in my thesis. I will share link later with the recording of this presentation. Also, you will find this presentation on YouTube. I will share later the link of this video on LinkedIn and other social media devices. Thanks too much for your patience and also listening for me. And I hope you liked this presentation and this work as well. Thanks too much, and see you later with other presentation. Thanks too much. Goodbye.